UCCS Sports. I'm MJR Jamandi, broadcasting live alongside Doug Klein right here from Mountain Lion Stadium on the University of Colorado Springs campus, right here in Olympic City, USA, as the number one ranked team in the nation. The undefeated 16-0 UCCS Mountain Lions are set to host the Regis Rangers, coming into today's game with a record of 9-4-2 and a conference record of 7-3-1. Doug, what a season for UCCS, and this is the final regular season matchup, and they're vying right now for an undefeated regular season. What's your take on today and the keys to victory for both teams?
First of all, storybook year, no question. The word of the day is stingy. Both teams start with defense, and then they look for the opportunity on the transition. UCCS, more offensive firepower, but both squads, one of the best goalkeepers in the RMAC. Molly Swift for the Mountain Lions is the leading RMAC goalkeeper. The UCCS goals against average is about .434. Julia Coombs in net for Regis. She is the best goalkeeper of all time for the Rangers, and she comes in with a goals against average of just under .8. So we should look for something stingy today in terms of who's going to allow what shot-wise. But make no mistake, both teams want these points bad, even though their playoff positions are pretty much lined up because of the brilliance of the way the NCAA puts it together in terms of the kind of performance points that you need to qualify for the NCAA tournament when the draw comes up on the 18th.
You can call it a matchup of the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object here today, as this might just become a defensive battle for both teams. But, Doug, I think my money is going to be on UCCS's offense over anybody's defense, at least with the way that they played here this season. I think the biggest matchup, as everybody likely knows, was that tough matchup against Colorado Mines. And, Doug, we were talking before the game, fascinating stat about the time in which UCCS has led this season.
That is true. The Mountain Lions have been ahead for 2/3 of the minutes this season. They have only trailed 34 minutes, and that was in the Colorado School of Mines games. And so today they could actually pass the 1,000-minute mark for holding the lead during the season, which is really unheard of at this level of play.
And we are underway right here from Mountain Lion Stadium. 90 minutes of great RMAC action, at least 90 minutes coming your way right here from UCCS Sports. And UCCS has been quick to strike all season long and already trying to get their offense going quickly. Let's go through the starting lineups with everybody here today for the Rangers. In goal, number 1, Julia Combs. Midfielder, number 5, Emily Ramos. Midfielder, number 6, Keegan Storley. Midfielder, number 7, Hannah Walgren. Forward, number 8, Carly Beisch. Forward, number 9, Natasha Wayner. Forward, number 14, Siobhan John. Midfielder, number 15, Tori Rinsum. Midfielder, number 16, Madison Hand. Defender, number 20, Emily Goodson. And defender, number 21, Allison Warta. For UCCS, as Doug mentioned earlier, in goal, number 1, Molly Swift. Defender, number 2, Jade Kinsey. Defender, number 5, Lisa Muir. Forward, number 8, Jaden Davis. Midfielder, number 9, Kelsey Lanham. Midfielder, number 16, Caitlin Esterly. Midfielder, number 18, Sinead Hopcroft. Midfielder, number 20, Ella Fisher. Forward, number 22, Tanner Sanders. Forward, number 27, Caitlin Hinkle. And midfielder, number 31, Taya Schubert.
And MJ, I can already see one thing after that first direct kick as to how Regis is going to try to stall the UCCS attack. They're setting the line high. They're going to try to run the offside trap. So then UCCS will just have to break that down to try to create a little bit more space. So we'll see how that evolves as the match progresses.
Doug, you mentioned before the game as well the potential for UCCS here with the season awards coming out soon, and UCCS might have a good billing here to get the goalkeeper of the year, freshman of the year, and possibly the offensive player of the year, which is quite impressive. And they're vying right now for the first ever undefeated season in program history.
And we talk about that. They've got another record going on as well. We talk about the undefeated season. Their unbeaten streak goes back to the NCAA tournament last year. They were knocked out of the tournament on PKs.
Well, UCCS right here with the first shot. Just a little too far right. Great attempt.
And there's one way to break it down, MJ. You saw that was a 2-on-1, and that was because Regis was holding their line, and then only one defender peeled off of the line, and UCCS had the 2-on-1.
Mountain Lions with a corner kick coming up, and a great opportunity to strike first in the last regular season matchup of the 2019 campaign. Instead, they elect to just pass it in and set up the attack. Deep shot there. That one's a little far left.
For the fans, MJ, that are seeing all the snow around the field, those are icebergs. So that one dangerous spot near the south goal, that's actually ice if somebody would run into it, and it's been difficult to remove that. That's the only bad spot on the field. I had a chance to walk the field before the match.
It's quite impressive that the field is as clear as it is given the snowstorm that came through Colorado Springs less than a week ago. So great job by the crew to get the field ready for play. Sanders unable to get control of that one, but the Mountain Lions get the ball right back, looking to set things up right in front of us here at the broadcast booth.
This is a good sign in the first 5 minutes. The Mountain Lions have clearly had the better of the possession.
And a wide open net right there, and that's an easy goal. That was just a tap-in for UCCS as Elisa Muir with an easy goal, and the Mountain Lions strike first, take a 1-0 lead less than 5 minutes into the first half.
And this has been their MO, to score early. So now the clock starts ticking on how many minutes they have that lead. I'll double check my stats. I believe if they hold a lead for 45 minutes today, they're at 1,000 minutes for the season ahead.
It's absolutely remarkable that UCCS has been able to sustain this dominant play all season long.
Well, they've actually credited the goal to Schubert. I thought I saw Muir put it away, but we'll check that.
Rangers right here in front of us with a throw-in. It's going to be Siobhan John putting it back into play, and that one is quickly taken by Fisher for the Mountain Lions. Good crisp pass there. Good defense being played by John. Nothing there for UCCS as they're looking to add to their early lead here in the first half.
And MJ, it's a virtual certainty that Regis will be right back here next weekend. Right now, they're in a battle for either the 4th or 5th position in the RMAC, depending on the results around the league today. But regardless, the number 4 and 5 teams come to Colorado Springs, while UCCS, having wrapped up the number 1 seed, will host the 8th seed on Friday. So it is possible, if UCCS does what they're supposed to do and defeat the 8th seed, that they'll see the winner of the 4-5 game a week from today, and it could be these very same Rangers.
So a good opportunity to get familiar for both squads with one another for a potential playoff rematch. UCCS going to be a spectator next Friday night as the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference will open up the tournament, and UCCS certainly the favorites at the moment. Already clinched the RMAC regular season championship on Friday night in a 4-0 victory against Black Hills State. And Doug, you called the action on Friday night. What was it for UCCS that allowed them to dominate that game and get a 4-0 victory against the Yellow Jackets?
Well, once again, they were inspired as an opportunity here for Hopcroft. Coombs able to clean that up. Clearly, they knew that it was for the first ever regular season championship for the squad, so they were motivated. They came out flying, scored a goal early in the 7th minute, outshot Black Hills State 37-1, and you and I were talking a little bit before the game. It seemed like all of the players wanted to do the work for everybody else so that they could enjoy it together. They didn't have as good of a shot on goal percentage as they typically do, but easily with the 4-0 win, they went into halftime 2-0, so they knew it was coming, and they had the chance to celebrate not only the league championship but senior night on Friday. So they were fired up.
What a great way for the seniors to go out on Friday night, and another great opportunity for UCCS. A little frustrated on that attempt was Hopcroft because she thought she had a goal in the net. That was a great job coming out by Combs to meet her halfway.
And there you're seeing some of the pedigree of one of the top keepers in the league and the best keeper all time for the Rangers.
What a great one-on-one matchup that is between Sinead Hopcroft and Julia Combs.
One of the interesting storylines today, MJ, if you think back to the final weekend, 2 years ago, UCCS was not on anybody's radar nationally. They were 3rd place in the RMAC going into the tournament, and then they started their massive run to the Final Four. And by the strength of their wins late in the season and winning the RMAC tournament, they got into the NCAA tournament. The team that was the number 1 seed that season out of the RMAC, these Regis Rangers, they did not make the NCAA tournament. So that is not lost on them and the opportunity to upend the Mountain Lions.
So a little bit of history between the Mountain Lions and the Rangers, and that likely is going to continue, or at least there's a good likelihood that it could continue into the playoffs this season as well. Can't speak highly enough of Sean Hudson and the entire coaching staff. It's remarkable to me, Doug, that just a few years ago she was coaching with the organization Pride, which I know you're very familiar with, a fantastic organization here in Colorado Springs. And UCCS certainly lucky to have her on board here with UCCS and the soccer team.
And I think where she really cut her teeth at this level is while working with the Pride. The Pride have an entry in the Pro-Am summer circuit after the colleges are done playing for the year, and those former pros or recent graduates who still have the hope of going to the pro game. So she had the opportunity to coach that Pro-Am squad. So then starting to work with the players this age, get to know them, and get to work with the higher and higher levels coming out of the club program where she worked with the high school aged women. So yeah, she has cut her teeth. And not only that, she was a great player in her own rights in the UK before coming to the US.
Some physical play there as the Rangers looking to get on the board and get back into this game, but it's been all UCCS through the first 12 minutes or so of action. They have dominated time of possession and jumped out to the early 1-0 lead. But Doug, you know better than anybody, UCCS is not going to rest on that 1-0 lead they have. They're going to continue to press, keep the pressure on, and try to continue to add to what has been a simply dominating season here from Colorado Springs.
Yeah, they've only been tested a few times, and the mark of great teams, right, is that when you're under adversity, how do you respond? This Regis Rangers team, well coached, J.B. Belzer, a longtime successful coach with them. These guys aren't going to let up, and UCCS knows that. And another little fun fact, Mountain Lions in the Sean Hudson era, they lost to Regis on this turf 2 seasons ago. It's one of only 3 losses they've had on Mountain Lion turf in the now nearly full 3 seasons since Hudson took over.
A little bit of payback, I'm sure, in the back of her mind, as she would love to add a few more goals to this lead. But as we talked about earlier, the Rangers only with 2 losses all season long, only one of those coming in conference play. So certainly a formidable opponent for the Mountain Lions and one of the tougher matchups on the schedule for UCCS.
Yeah, one of the interesting things, too, in doing my pregame research, one of the things about the Rangers, because you fans might recall if they've listened to our streaming, I like the stat about shots created versus shots allowed. And Regis has been stingy, as we said early on. UCCS is just under 3 shots generated for every shot they allow. Regis is sitting at about 1.8 on their ratio, but stingy. They haven't allowed a lot of shots. And already UCCS has taken maybe 8 shots.
The Mountain Lions doing a great job of spreading the ball all around the field here, trying to create another opening and another potential to add to their lead.
Boy, and on that last rush, they had the timing. Hopcroft timed her run through the back line perfectly. The pass just a bit too low, and the Rangers were able to head it out of danger.
Yeah, that was a great job by Walgren to step in and intercept that pass and not allow the Mountain Lions to set up their very deadly attack. And now the Rangers looking to set up an attack of their own. And there's a great opportunity. Wow, how about that, Doug, out of nowhere.
And that's a dangerous Natasha Weiner. Weiner is their leader in assists, and she had the game winner in their big match. Or actually, it wasn't the game winner. They tied the other night Metro, and she had a goal late in the game to tie it and send it to overtime, so they were able to earn a point and still be in this situation. And now we have the first corner of the match for the Rangers.
That was a great job there by Muir to step in, as Ramos had a golden opportunity. And right now, battle down low, and a great job there by Swift to punch that one out. And now UCCS looking to clear the ball on that one and not allow any kind of dangerous attempt down low by the Rangers. But looks like Regis is starting to settle in a little bit here.
There's Weiner again.
There's a shot wide right. But the Rangers looking to really set things up here and get back into this game. They've had a much better last few minutes than the first 15. It's been dominated by UCCS, but Regis very likely could strike at any moment. So UCCS got to stay on guard and not allow the Rangers to get back into this game.
And that's the danger of, right, just a 1-goal lead, bad bounce. You can see how Regis has totally turned the tables the last 2 minutes.
Mountain Lions trying to move the ball down the field at the moment, doing a great job. Very crisp passing there from UCCS. Schubert sending that one into the middle. A little bit of volleyball there. And speaking of volleyball, how about Jade Kinsey and her sister Jordan Kinsey, both just premier athletes here at UCCS. Jordan Kinsey, part of the UCCS volleyball team, who was in action just last night and got a huge victory against Shattern State, as they're looking to make a playoff push as well. So great success by the sisters Kinsey here at UCCS.
And you were there. That was a 5-set victory. Did I read that correctly?
5-set victory. Yeah, that was back and forth all night long. What a great matchup. So it could be a great weekend altogether for the Kinsey sisters.
And Jade, early in the season, was injured. She started to get more and more minutes in this last third of the season and earned many, many starts, including today. She's played extremely well in that back line. One of just this incredible group of freshmen.
Well, a 2-on-1 there, and Schubert draws the foul as Wayner and Midroy there in on the action. Just a little too aggressive, and the Mountain Lions will have it a little past midfield. Sanders looking to put it back in play. And that pass a little too deep for Muir to catch up to. Great idea. Just a little bit too much on that pass by Sanders.
And I don't know if our microphones picked up anything, if you could hear what Elisa Muir, the senior leader, was saying. They were having a little trouble setting up the direct kick, and Muir was trying to direct them into position and reminded them it's what we practiced yesterday. And then you saw that play where she runs over the ball, goes down the flank, and they try to hit her on the run and time it past the back line. So it's clear that the Mountain Lions are well aware of the potential for Regis to run the offside trap.
That ball sent far out of play, but it's going to be UCCS throw-in on the far sideline. Here's Schubert right in front of us, putting a move on, and a great one at that, as she shakes Midroy. And there's Sanders with the takeaway, tries to keep it in play.
And MJ, we have an update from Grand Junction, which is important and influences playoffs. It looks to now be a virtual certainty that it will be Westminster and Regis coming to Mountain Lion Stadium as the 4 and 5 seeds, as Dixie State is ahead of Western just after an hour of play. Dixie State up 3-0, and if they hold on to that lead, they will secure the number 3 spot in the RMAC, which will push Regis and Westminster to the 4-5. And realistically, it doesn't matter who comes in at 4 or 5, they're going to play each other. Probably only matters at the coin flip.
So Regis getting awfully familiar with Mountain Lion Stadium with 2 games here in less than 1 week time. Checking in for the Mountain Lions just a moment ago was number 4, Alexandra Samuels, and number 21, Mitzi Ramirez. And if anybody tuned in to the last broadcast from Media Services here at UCCS, you saw a fantastic interview from our very own Doug Klein with Mitzi Ramirez, and what a well-spoken freshman she is. Had a great game, scoring a goal in that outing.
And if anybody was watching our streaming last weekend, we talked to 3 of the injured players at one of the halftime, and we're scheduled for a pleasant visit after this match. Win or lose, Sinead Hopcroft is going to come over and join us. This entire squad, great soccer IQ, great in the classroom, as many of them are on the RMAC All-Academic team. Just a joy to talk to them. They represent themselves and the team well.
You know, Doug, sometimes it's the little things that add up to big results there, as Molly Swift coming deep to send that one out and not allow a corner kick by Regis. That was a really great heads-up play by Swift as the Rangers were hoping to get that corner kick set up, but she came out of nowhere and denied that opportunity. You can see some of the play getting a little bit more physical as well.
Regis has settled into the game nicely. Who knows? 11 a.m. start. It seemed like their legs were still waking up. Maybe they needed a bit more warm-up, whatever. They are totally into the match, and nothing is even close to settled in this one yet.
Maybe they got too much sleep last night, Doug, with the time change. Doesn't seem to affect UCCS much, at least through the early going, but the Rangers have been dominating control in the last 5 minutes or so. But UCCS remains poised, and certainly they will not stay away or shy away from the physical play. They'll embrace it all day long. One of the more physical teams in the RMAC.
That was a good double down by the Rangers to create that turnover.
Great interception there. Well done by Fisher to come in and take that ball away.
And incidentally, one of the subs, if you now see at center back number 4, Allie Samuels, good to see her back into the game. I believe it was our last television broadcast. She actually suffered a concussion on a corner kick attempt where she was knocked pretty well. She was just recently cleared to return to contact. There was some question whether she was actually going to get minutes today or they were going to wait until the playoffs. So good to see her back on the field.
Checking in for the Mountain Lions right now, number 19, Nicolette Sandoval. Action on the far side. Mountain Lions, here comes looks like a pass inside, but Hopcroft unable to get a foot on that one and send it near the goal. Good idea by UCCS, but Hopcroft unable to corral that one and get a decent shot off.
And MJ, we should point out that now we're in the 25th minute. Elisa Muir, the senior, has now passed in the record book. She now sits at 6th all-time in total minutes. And if the Mountain Lions get to the RMAC finals next week, it's likely she will cross the 5,000-minute mark, which she would be the first player in history to accomplish that in just 3 seasons, as she came to UCCS as a transfer student out of Colorado College.
Checking in for the Rangers right now, number 19, Gia Lemley. And still a relatively young program for UCCS. Only about a decade old, but this team right now has the potential to just set so many records for UCCS that could last for quite some time.
Yeah, I was actually talking to one of the best people that's part of the program is Hannah Levitt. Hannah is all over the record books when she was a player here, and now she's been on the coaching staff ever since Coach Hudson came to town, and she can do the great comparison. In those early years, obviously UCCS was an unknown entity, and Coach Ridenour had to work hard to recruit in the early years, and then Hannah Levitt was part of the teams when the Mountain Lions really started getting good and competitive, and she's in a number of the record books, and I asked her before the game if she minded seeing her self passed by this group. She said in the first 2 years after she was done playing, the 2014 season was her last. she said she minded the first couple years, and now she just loves it when people pass her.
A great asset to the coaching staff, a product of UCCS. And I'm sure she's got to be quite pleased with the progression of the program and knowing that she's been part of it for so long.
And she still keeps in touch with a lot of the alumni, and she just says all the alumni, all the way back to the very first season in 2008, they have such a sense of pride, feeling like they were key in building the foundations that this squad now benefits from.
A scuffle there for control, but the Mountain Lions coming away with it. That pass sent just a little bit too deep. Unable to corral that one with Sandoval. Nice job there to take that one away by Fisher. Looks like offside.
And if fans are wondering, and they may have heard some out of the stands asking for an offside on the last play, the officials are calling this correctly. They're supposed to let the play develop to see if the player that is offside, in fact, does get into the mix. In the previous play, it got back to goalkeeper Coombs well before UCCS could have. I'm sure had UCCS been there, they would have called it. And on that play, they did indeed call offside correctly.
Looked like that ball was heading out of play, but UCCS gains control once again. Just under 17 minutes remaining here in half number one. Mountain Lions still lead 1-0 after the early goal, and continuing to dominate control of the game, but the Rangers have really done a great job of battling back. The Mountain Lions certainly can't get too comfortable, only up by one goal so far. Their lead easily could disappear in the blink of an eye.
And MJ, the last time you and I did the UCCS Media Services broadcast, we talked about breaking the game down into the first 30 minutes, the middle 30, and the final 30 in terms of who wins them. This game, wouldn't you agree, it's kind of like a prize fight so far? Regis took the first bunch of punches in the first 15 minutes, and then they have countered nicely to put the pressure onto the Mountain Lions. I'm not really sure how I would evaluate those first 30. I guess you have to give it to UCCS because they have the goal. But
well,
Regis
keeping
is
with
right
that
there.
analogy, Doug, they might be going for the rope-a-dope strategy, allowing UCCS to expend a lot of energy, get a lot of shots up, hoping that they can strike during transition. The Rangers certainly a great team on the season, and I think the Mountain Lions know that. Certainly they were not overlooking Regis here this weekend. They know where they stand in terms of the seeding, and that's not going to change regardless of this game, but UCCS looking again to complete the undefeated season for the first time in program history. And the Rangers here looking to spoil that for the Mountain Lions.
And equally important for the Mountain Lions, besides the undefeated season, is now that we're fast approaching the NCAA tournament, the NCAA regional rankings, there's a mix-up by Coombs, a rare mix-up, didn't cost them. Anyway, with the NCAA objective rankings based on a series of performance indicators, winning percentages, and a pretty complex formula, UCCS #1 in the region, which would also, if they were able to hold that through the conference playoffs, would give them the opportunity to host the first two rounds of the NCAA. But right on their heels, Dallas Baptist out of the Lone Star Conference, St. Edwards, Angelo State, Texas Women's. There's a whole bunch of teams vying. Colorado School of Mines, we can't forget them.
That was a bit of a miscue there by UCCS, and a great opportunity by Regis, unable to capitalize, but they are going to be rewarded with a corner kick.
And I was seeing game's going to go level on that one, and out of nowhere, Allie Samuels came over to clean it up, to keep the clean sheet.
Comes a good opportunity now for the Rangers to strike and get back into this game. On that far side, Ramos looking to put a move on. Shakes one Mountain Lion, sends it inside, and there's a goal for Regis. And just like that, they're on the board, and they've tied this game up 1-1.
And clearly Ramos made that play by gaining the goal line and then drawing some of the defense down to allow them that drawback pass for the put away and the 1-1 count.
What execution there from Regis. Great patience shown by them through the first 30 minutes of action. They let UCCS do their thing, and they bounced back, settled in. And the goal's going to be accredited to number 29, Audrey Teague.
And Teague is the leading scorer on this Ranger squad.
Well, those fresh legs really paid dividends as she came off the bench to help the Rangers tie this game up 1-1. Like you mentioned, Doug, that was beautiful play by Emily Ramos to set up that goal attempt, and Teague was able to finish the job. And all of a sudden, we're tied here 1-1 at Mountain Lion Stadium. We knew we were in store for a good matchup here, and both teams playing like this game actually matters, because it does.
Well, and getting back to the NCAA regional points and the fact that 2 years ago, this final weekend, UCCS not on the regional map at all. Regis was. And then UCCS, by the strength of their run, earns so many points in the NCAA regional rankings that they were able to get in to the playoffs, and then we saw where that went. They got to the Final Four. So Regis is hoping to be this year's UCCS from 2017.
Talk about flipping the script from just a few seasons ago. And that's a deep pass there. And what a battle there. Looks like Hopcroft coming away with it, but unable to capitalize.
The ball really wasn't bouncing in her favor. She has incredible ball skill. It just was a little bit too high. She couldn't get quite around enough on it to send it into the open net. But a good play by both Coombs and Hopcroft.
We could just sense such a great level of IQ from Hopcroft. A few moments ago, she came out to meet Coombs and almost created an opportunity for herself off of a misplay by the goalkeeper. And on that play there, you could see the energy she was expending trying to track that one in and create another opportunity for UCCS with just under 11 minutes now remaining in the first half. Back and forth action here after the Rangers have settled in. This has been a really close, contested game. Mount Lions striking first in just the first few minutes, but the Rangers seemingly with momentum at the moment. Mount Lions trying to flip that back around.
And on that particular play, Hopcroft did the nice flick over the back line, but just some miscommunication with her forwards. They didn't time the run to get on the flick. But the one thing about Regis, they have not gotten away from their game plan of playing high and trying to generate the offside trap. For young players watching, you can see how UCCS is trying to break the offside trap. You have a forward going through the line. If the ball does not come to them, they're just cycling back and getting themselves back onside. And so many times, young players, they make the run, and if it's not there, then they're kind of frustrated and walk back. You just got to keep cycling and cycling and cycling against this type of back line.
Persistence pays off. And UCCS right now with a pass. Great job, though, by Coombs to come out and snag that one out of midair. That looked like that might have been trouble for for the Rangers, as UCCS had a great opportunity there to strike, but a great heads-up play by Coombs to come out and deny the opportunity. Doug, you got to imagine with the game this closely contested and important for both teams that the physicality is only going to continue to increase through the remainder of the first half and into the second half. Shot there by Sandoval, but a little off point on that attempt. Looks like Coombs was trying to get the ball in play quickly, but elected instead to take her time and allow the offense to settle in a little bit more. There's Muir with the ball, shaking a couple of defenders, creating some space. What a pass, but that's going to be offside from Sandoval. What a great idea there for UCCS, as Muir was putting a move on a few defenders there from Regis, trying to lead Sandoval, but Sandoval just a little too far ahead of the pack.
And you heard a little bit of a mock cheer coming from the Regis fans on that call. But candidly, the officials have been calling that correctly all afternoon. UCCS has been offside maybe 3 times when it wasn't called, but it was because they weren't collecting the ball and it wasn't dangerous. So
Great
for those
patience.
officials that are watching and are pulling themselves up off the floor because of how many nice things I've been saying about them.
It's not even officials appreciation weekend anymore, Doug, but got to call it like you see it. And yeah, the officiating has been on point here through the first half of our game. Cross-field pass, and that was dangerous. Coombs doing a great job to come out deep to meet that one, but that was a risky play by her.
One of the things to look for in the second half, MJ2, is the longer I'm around this sport, the more and more I'm convinced it's a contest of attrition. Regis is expending a lot of energy going back to defend, and as it is in most sports, defending going backwards uses up way more energy than being on the front foot and on the attack. So we'll see if that becomes a factor.
Couple of opportunities there for UCCS to set up their attack, but the Rangers doing a great job of denying the opportunity, and now it's Lemley with an opportunity on the far side, dishes it off, and the Rangers taking their time to set things up, trying to capitalize on the last 5.5 minutes remaining here in the first half.
That was just a nice sequence that we saw on both ends. UCCS was feeling it. They had 5 in on the attack doing the combination, and I actually thought something was going to break through toward net, and then when Regis was able to break it up, they countered quickly and created a threat on the other end. So we're seeing some good soccer here this afternoon.
This game certainly living up to the billing so far. 2 of the top teams in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference going toe-to-toe, and with your analogy earlier, blow for blow, sending their shots back and forth, tied up 1-1. This could be a great opportunity to build some momentum for both squads with under 5 minutes now remaining in the first half. What a game changer that would be for either team if they can strike again and take the lead going into the half.
It'll be interesting to see when we come back for the second half. You have 2 great field tacticians in Coach Belzer and Coach Hudson to see what adjustments they might make.
a relatively low-scoring half for UCCS, as they've been one of the highest scoring teams in the South Central region all season long. Certainly lead the way in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. Great takeaway there, and Sanders now with possession, looking to put a move on Goodson. That one taken away, not a very good pass there, as Limley takes it away and trying to go coast to coast. Nice dish there. That's going to be Swift coming out to send that one away. Good clear by her. Looks like a foul called there, and the Rangers have 3 minutes here to set up their attack and try to gain their first lead of the game.
Checking in for the Mountain Lions, number 6, Kendall Stevenson.
Kendall Stevenson checking in for UCCS with about 2.5 minutes remaining. Goal kick coming up from Swift. Looking to send this one deep and allow her offense to get set up and capitalize on the last 2 minutes of action here in the first half. What a great battle we have here at Mountain Lions Stadium. And you see some physicality there towards midfield. It'll be interesting to see how the officiating goes in the second half, whether they continue to allow that physical play or whether they step in and try to alter the way in which the game is being played.
And just like teams make adjustments at halftime, officiating crews talk with each other about how it went, and they may make adjustments as well based on what they saw.
Well, how about that? Swift coming deep for UCCS to try to allow her squad there to have an advantage. With 90 seconds remaining, didn't quite materialize as UCCS had hoped. Always a risky play when the keeper comes that far away from goal. Here's an opportunity there. Hopcroft sending that one over. That one is sent out of play.
Good clear by the Rangers. Kendall Stevenson was right on the doorstep to pick that up.
1 minute remaining in the first half.
There's a throw in from UCCS. And I don't think they're in much of a rush here, as they're going to try to drain the clock and get the final shot off. They would hate to allow the Rangers an opportunity in transition with just seconds remaining in the first half. But certainly they're going to look to get their shot off as well. There's an attempt, but right into the hands of Coombs. 25 seconds now remaining. Goodson looking to take that one deep. Great job there by UCCS to deny that opportunity. And it looks like that's going to be the way that the first half ends. The ball with Swift at the moment. She's just going to send that one deep, and that's going to take us to the end of the first half as the Mountain Lions and the Rangers are all tied up 1-1 here at Mountain Lions Stadium. Well, we got some halftime entertainment coming up here from Mountain Lions Stadium. We're going to step aside for the halftime intermission. We'll be back after the end of halftime.
The mountain lion is one of the strongest members of the feline family. The average mountain lion lives 5 times a day and consumes up to 3 times its weight in protein. It shares many characteristics with its domestic counterparts, the good and the bad. UCCS. Find your inner mountain lion. The majestic mountain lion, the perfect combination of size and deadly agility. This big cat is capable of speeds of 40 to 50 miles per hour, when properly motivated. UCCS. Find your inner mountain lion.
I think one of the things that I was really surprised by at UCCS was that even though there are 11,000 students here, it feels like a small campus. So get to know the faculty really well.
You always get that one-on-one connection to your professor, you get to know your classmates, and it's just a really good learning environment.
The campus is amazing. Just getting to walk from building to building and see the view is really spectacular.
There's tons of support for students on campus. It comes from Excel centers and tutoring labs that they have.
There's always a lot of stuff to do on campus for active students like myself. I'm in a sorority on campus and I love all the friends I've made there.
What I like most about UCCS is that we have a real desire to grow and stretch ourselves and our push to become something greater.
When I was growing up, I always loved going outdoors, whether it was for biking, camping, skiing. And when I started looking for colleges, I naturally gravitated towards UCCS because it's in an area where all of those activities are still very easily accessible. A lot of my classes this semester are held in Dwyer Hall, and I really enjoy studying in there because the way the building is built, it allows a lot of natural lighting to flow in, which makes studying a lot easier. Another thing I really love about this campus is that I can go pretty much anywhere and get an awesome view. I never feel like I'm too far from an adventure. Even within 30 minutes of campus, you've got places like Red Rocks where you can go out and take a mountain bike. You can go out there for hours and never come across the same trail twice. After looking at other colleges near mountains all across the country, I'm really glad I decided to go to UCCS because I realized how good I have it here.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Mountain Lions Stadium as the UCCS Mountain Lions and Regis Rangers are currently tied 1-1 after the first half of action. And Doug, what a great first half that was. The Mountain Lions striking quickly, but the Rangers settling in quite nicely and getting back into the game on the board to tie the game up 1-1. And it's really been back and forth ever since the first few minutes of action. Doug, what really were the keys for both teams in that first half, and what do you think are the adjustments that both those teams need to make here in the second half to come away with a win?
Well, you have two great tacticians on the benches on the other side of the field. I'm not sure I know what's going to happen. If I'm Regis, I'm going to say the offside trap was working, and so I would stick with that. And if you're the Mountain Lions, you're just going to try to set up your attack where you're timing the runs a little bit better. One of the things that they might try is a few different types of runs than they did the first half to try to catch the Rangers a little bit off stride. The Mountain Lions did have the better shot total, 10-4. There was only one shot on goal for Regis, but it found net, and that's where we are at 1-1. And Regis took a lot of punches the first 15 minutes, as we stick with that boxing analogy that we used a few times in the first half. But Regis really got back on the front foot the last half hour of that first half.
Well, for UCCS, it was Taya Schubert who was credited with the goal for the Mountain Lions. On the other hand, for the Rangers, the goal by Madison Hand helped to get the Rangers back into this contest. But as you mentioned, Doug, really a great contest, but the Mountain Lions dominating shots 10-4 in that first half. If we look at some of the rest of the stats here, though, pretty dead even. Goals dead even, assists dead even. Well, that's going to be a natural and a given. Shots on goal a little bit to the favor of UCCS, and corner kicks 3-2 in favor of the Mountain Lions. But what a big 45 minutes this is now going to become for UCCS and the Regis Rangers. Mountain Lions vying for the first ever undefeated season in program history. Now, granted, if they come away with a tie, it's still an undefeated season, but that's going to leave a bit of a bitter taste in their mouth to not come away with that victory and improve to 17-0 here in the regular season.
And that would be a huge bitter taste if that result, if where we stand now materializes. So you see that, and this is one interesting thing about the way this officiating crew has decided to call this game, and in my opinion it's the appropriate way to call it. They are waiting. There's a lot of late whistles because they're seeing if the advantage develops after the foul. So the ball girls are a little bit behind the times. So what's going on with the officiating? You could see that the play developed about 5 yards after where they're placing it, a few seconds. The initial foul was there. The quality of possession was not maintained. So then the center referee, Karen App, decided to blow the whistle and award the direct kick. So again, a fair call and a proper way to call the sport, and this is a dangerous spot.
Yeah, great opportunity. Great deception there by the Rangers, and on the attempt was Keegan Storley, right into the arms, though, of Molly Swift. Good idea by the Rangers, but the execution wasn't quite there to get past the keeper. But you see the Rangers quick on the attack here in the start of the second half. Mountain Lions with possession right now on the far side.
For the Mountain Lions, this is a very unusual position for them to be in all season. This is only the 5th time all season they've gone into halftime either tied or behind. So unfamiliar territory. One thing to watch that could be in the Mountain Lions' favor this half, the way the sun is getting lower on the horizon this time of year. It is right into the eyes of the squad defending the north goal, and that would be Regis. And Molly Swift, in a little bit of shade, has a much better view this half than she did the first half.
A little bit of the home field advantage for UCCS, playing on the right side of the sun right now, and that might come into play. If anything, certainly a benefit for UCCS, but the Rangers great team, great squad, and certainly apt to handle all conditions. All things considered, though, Doug, a beautiful day here in Colorado Springs. Couldn't ask for better weather this time of the season, early November, and a beautiful sunny day, mid-50s here in Colorado Springs.
And I like the fact that we're using UCCS Media Services so the fans get the view from the east side of the field looking to the west. Just Pikes Peak in the background, the blue skies. What a picture-perfect day for this beautiful game.
Regis here trying to get their offense set up. Great patience shown by them all game long so far, but the Mountain Lions, the best team in the RMAC right now with a tough test ahead of them, though. 41 minutes stands in their way from an undefeated season, trying to complete the regular season 17-0.
One of the things that we started talking about at the beginning of the half and then some action interrupted the point is if this result should hold as a 1-1 draw, that would hurt UCCS just in terms of the overall points in the NCAA regional rankings. Dallas Baptist, who was right behind the Mountain Lions this weekend, the Lone Star Conference, they play on Thursdays and Saturdays while the RMAC plays on Fridays and Sundays. Dallas Baptist had their second blemish of the season on Thursday with a draw, and then they won yesterday, so that draw would put them further behind the Mountain Lions. If the Mountain Lions should match them with a win and a draw this weekend, things will get tighter as those rankings get ready to come out in a couple weeks, or the final rankings, I should say. The next interim rankings will come out on Wednesday.
So UCCS holds their own destiny in their hands or in their feet, trying to force the entire South Central Regional Tournament to run through Mountain Lion Stadium. And what a great advantage that would be for UCCS.
And as long as we're on that point, just to take a look at where those South Central Regional standings look coming into this weekend. The Mountain Lions, of course, on top. Dallas Baptist, as we mentioned, is the second squad. School of Mines, number 3. Texas Women's, 4. Angelo State, 5. Dixie State, who's already won today 4-0 over Western. And a para wins this weekend. That helps the Trailblazers possibly move up. So Dixie State, for the moment, the 6th and final spot in the South Central region. Right on their heels, Lubbock Christian and Westminster.
Second corner kick coming up for UCCS. And a great opportunity for them to strike first again in the second half, just like they did in the first half. Corner kick is up and in. Header there, and that one, great job to keep it in play, and the Mountain Lions going to have another attempt. Looks like that one was heading out of play, and it was going to be a goal kick, and now that is the result, as Coombs is going to put this one back in play. UCCS had an opportunity there, unable to capitalize.
They had good shape on that attack. They had a lot of depth. Players were everywhere. They just couldn't get a quality shot on frame.
Well, in the first half, the Mountain Lions elected not to really go for those corner kicks, but rather just put it back in play with a quick pass. And I think that might have been a bit of a decoy to set things up for the second half for those corner kicks, as they went for it on that last attempt, just unable to get anything to materialize.
UCCS going with the same starting lineup the second half that they used in the first half. as we're through the first 8 minutes of half number 2.
Rangers looking to put this one back in play. It's Midroy with the throw-in, trying to inch their way down the field. That one taken away by the Mountain Lions. What a move there to shake the defender. UCCS trying to set up that attack, nothing doing though on that attempt.
And once again, a little bit of a miscommunication. Hopcroft had the ball kind of stuck between her feet, so instead of advancing, she chose to push it forward, and her teammate on the left side, thinking that Hopcroft was going to control it, started making a different run.
Well, I think one of the adjustments that the officials are making after that first half, as we talked about, they also strategize and game plan how they're going to maneuver through the second half. A few more whistles being blown here at the start of the second half as things were getting a little physical the end of the first half. It looks like the officiating crew is trying to put a stop to some of that physical play here in the second half.
And that most recent play was quite dangerous. Coombs got trapped in between steps and the ball bounced over her head. If it had been on frame, it would have been in, or if the Mountain Lions had had a runner down the right wing, could have sent it into an empty net. So Regis escaped a mistake there.
Very fortunate by Coombs and the Rangers there as Mountain Lions caught them sleeping just a little bit, but unable to get that one in goal. What a great job there by Esterly to take that one away.
And credit to Rangers on that attack. They had a 2-on-5, and they actually nearly broke through as they had the UCCS backline off balance, even though the Mountain Lions had more numbers.
Another foul called there on UCCS, and that's going to allow the Rangers a free kick and a great spot and an opportunity here for Regis to strike first in the second half.
Swift positioning her wall, 4 players in the wall.
Swift now anticipating the shot. The officiating crew really taking control here in the first 10 minutes of half number 2. Quite a different story here so far in the first 10 minutes of this half compared to the first 10 minutes of the first half. Nothing there for the Rangers.
But that was well played by the Rangers. They had the timing, they had the play. That was Maddie Hand who had the head on it, and had she been able to put it on frame, it was just over the crossbar. She may have been over the outreached hands of Swift.
So the leading goal scorer for the Rangers, who put a goal up in the first half, unable to make it 2 on that last attempt. The Mountain Lions fortunate after that last exchange.
MJ, for all the fans watching, this is a great preview of the RMAC tournament to come on this pitch. Every team in the top 8 in the RMAC is very capable of taking down either UCCS or Mines if they're off their game. It should be entertaining, so we hope the fans come back out Friday. The start times for the quarterfinals are set. The first match is going to be at 4, the second match at 6:30. Still slightly uncertain whether the 1-8 matchup, which will be the Mountain Lions and whoever finishes in the 8th slot. Still a little bit of uncertainty as to who's going to get the early start time versus the later start time. But those matches will be at 4 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. right here on this pitch.
And we know the Rangers will be back on Friday to open up the first round of the 2019 RMAC postseason tournament. UCCS will get to be a spectator on Friday night and just watch all the action. What a great opportunity for them in terms of hosting and having that tournament run right through Mountain Lion Stadium.
And the Sunday semifinal match 1 week from today is scheduled at noon. Those will be the two teams that advance out of the Friday quarterfinals. And the other half of the bracket, incidentally, will be going through Golden, Colorado, as Colorado School of Mines is locked into the number 2 seed. So they will be hosting the number 7 seed, and then the number 3 and 6 seeds will also be playing in Golden. And right now, the 3 seed is locked in after Dixie State beat Western. Dixie State will be the 3 seed going to Golden.
About 15 minutes now have gone by here in half number 2, and it's really been back and forth. Both teams have had a few opportunities. UCCS in unfamiliar territory here. Doug tied 1-1 so late into the game. Still plenty of time, 30 minutes remaining in regulation. This is a good test for them, though, to see how they can answer the adjustments that are being made mid-game. May prove to be the difference for both teams.
One of the things we were talking about before the game is the fact that every quality team has to face some adversity during a season, and how do you respond? UCCS has had 2 overtime matches. And they were able to win both of those, and it was the only time the entire match that they were ahead in those games, just a second. Nice shot by Hopcroft, but just high.
What a season Hopcroft has had. Multiple time RMAC Player of the Week. And Doug, you're going to have an exclusive interview with Sinead Hopcroft following the end of regulation, so fans, don't go anywhere following the end of the game here. We're going to take just a quick commercial break once the game ends, and Sinead's going to step in for an interview with our very own Doug Klein, and you certainly don't want to miss that.
And hopefully her family is tuned in the UK. I talked to Sinead before the game. She was going to try to text her family to make sure that they're watching her, as the all-time leading scorer from the junior class in the history of UCCS will join us. And right now, Hopcroft is tied with last year's RMAC Player of the Year, Anna Gregg, for most points in a single season at 35. Hopcroft has the rest of this match in the playoffs to try to break that record. This is just flat out fun soccer today. This is one of the better matches we've seen this season.
Just back and forth the entire game. I think the Rangers had to be slightly concerned in the first few minutes of the first half when the Mountain Lions were able to get on the board so quickly with the goal by Schubert. It looks like we got a Ranger down at the moment. So the clock is stopped as the trainer comes out to check on the injured Ranger.
And referee Apt was right on that. She's controlled the game really well today. I believe there may have been head contact, and obviously in this sport, like most, the utmost precaution when it could potentially be a concussion. I don't want to suggest for a minute that that's what it is, even though the player is walking off holding her head.
Well, that's always a good sign to see her back on her feet and walking off on her own. As both teams with an opportunity to rally and strategize in this brief pause during action. Checking in for the Rangers in lieu of the injured player is going to be number 8, Carly Beisch. Throw in here by the Rangers. UCCS quick on the defense there, trying to take that one away. Such a great team in transition, and the Mountain Lions looking to capitalize right now on that very opportunity. The Rangers with a great job to deny that. 27 minutes remaining in regulation. Doug, are we in store for some bonus action?
You know, in our past broadcasts, I've been good at predicting that there's another goal to give, and I'm not sure. This game is sure playing out like we're going to go extra time.
Well, I think your word of the day was very appropriate. Stingy is what you said to start off the broadcast, and it certainly has been. Both teams have done a really good job of denying each other the opportunities that we know both teams are capable of. Two of the top scoring teams in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, each with just one goal so far here today.
And then you heard the UCCS bench erupt. They wanted the call. The referee all day long, as we've been talking about, has had intentionally delayed whistles, allowing to see whether advantage materializes, and then you may have seen there that she went over, referee Apt went over and talked to the UCCS coaching staff. I'm sure the conversation went something like this: I have this under control. I'm seeing what's going on. You need to just calm down.
Kudos to the officiating crew here today. They've done a great job of keeping this game on track and not allowing that physical play that was developing in that first half to really increase. There's a shot for UCCS, and that one's in the net.
And the assist should go to the goalkeeper on that.
Schubert again with the laser shot. That's 2 goals here today by Taya Schubert, and that one was a dart. What a blast.
I hope the SID's office is seeing what I'm seeing. Molly Swift should get the assist on that. That was brilliant. Her strong punt down the right flank, and the sun, MJ, actually did come into play there because the defender was looking at the sun, shading her eyes, trying to find that kick. Schubert was right on it, gained the edge, and then just drilled it into the back of the net for the 2-1 lead.
That was an absolute blast by Schubert right over the head of Coombs. What a job there by Molly Swift to set that up for UCCS. And right on cue, there's Swift coming in to snag that one.
I hope they're tuned in to us in the press box. I'm really going to lobby for Swift to get the assist on that.
Yeah, that was a beautiful job by her a great lead, and Schubert capitalized on that opportunity, and just like that, the Mountain Lions back on top 2-1 with 25 minutes remaining in regulation. Plenty of time for the Rangers to again settle back into this half like they did in the first half. And for UCCS, 24 minutes now remains between them and a perfect undefeated season on the verge of going 17-0. Doug, what's the strategy like now for the Mountain Lions? Do they take the gas off just a little bit and play a little bit more defense, or do they keep the pressure on trying to capitalize and get another goal? As a coach yourself, what's the strategy moving forward?
The biggest thing from a defensive standpoint is not to really change anything, just to stress, don't take any chances, maintain your shape. On the attacking end, you basically say we have to stay on the front foot because the best opportunity to prevent a goal is to have possession. So you don't change anything other than you make a stress for the back line to not take any big chances, because still 23 minutes to go is a lot of time. Maybe as we get under 5 minutes, you might go into a little bit more of a defensive posture. But Regis is known for coming back late and sending it to overtime. So the Mountain Lions should stay on the front foot here.
Checking in for the Mountain Lions is Zoe Sims. And UCCS with control at the moment. Oh, a little bit of a slip there.
I think that was Fisher who slipped and smartly stayed with it. Yeah, it was Fisher to prevent the counterattack.
Great heads-up play by her, even in lieu of the fall, to not allow the Rangers to be able to take that one away and set something up in transition. I think UCCS would certainly be all right just keeping the ball on that side of the field, and watching every second tick away brings them closer and closer to completing their undefeated season. So no rush.
So there's a case of what we were talking about. I would have liked to have seen a little better defensive shape there. They were off balance. I think they found her in time.
That was another really good opportunity that Swift presented with that beautiful kick from her, leading the way. And the Mountain Lions going to have a throw-in.
And the Mountain Lions are fortunate. They have a pair of keepers. Both Swift and Lexi Walker have strong left-footed kicks. They're able to drive them low and long. And coming into this season, goalkeeper was a question mark for the Mountain Lions. They had just come off of 2 consecutive seasons of goalkeepers of the year with experienced goalkeepers. And then they had the sophomore Walker and the freshman Swift coming in and really didn't know. And now they're on the doorstep of potentially having the RMAC Goalkeeper of the Year for the 3rd consecutive season.
Well, that question mark coming into the season has certainly been answered for UCCS, and what a great benefit that is for the Mountain Lions to have 2 goals, 2 goalkeepers, I should say, just the caliber of Walker and Swift. So you know you're always in good hands no matter who's in goal for UCCS. Great idea there, and I don't know how that ball stayed in play. That one is sent into the stands. Unfortunately, though, it's not like baseball, and they can't keep that ball. They got to throw that one back. No souvenir for the fans here at Mountain Lion Stadium.
And Ramirez just checked back in, and again, she could become a factor late in the game. As we've talked about it a few times in earlier broadcasts, she is a set play specialist for the Mountain Lions. Nice combination, just couldn't connect on the back end of that.
Great idea, just a little bit off point with that attempt. UCCS right now smothering the ball everywhere it goes. There's a Mountain Lion there to defend. Mountain Lions with the throw in. Official says, nope, wasn't your ball to throw in. Rangers now with possession. UCCS though quickly takes it right back. And here's an opportunity. Great job there though by the Rangers to intercept that one. UCCS now just spreading the ball all around the field, trying to eat up as much of that clock as possible. With 18.5 minutes remaining in regulation, Rangers are going to have to play with a little bit more urgency here as we near upon the last 18 minutes of regulation.
I don't know if our microphones picked that up. Molly Swift doing a great job giving instruction to her defenders in front of her of where to place that ball. And that is great to see from a freshman. When you think about the leadership that she has developed in just her first year of college soccer, it's very impressive.
Well, that's got to be a great feeling as well for Sean Hudson and the rest of the coaching staff to know that they have the caliber of goalkeeper as Molly Swift is, who she's had a remarkable day. Regardless of the one goal that got past her earlier, she really has had a stellar performance with the way that she has been communicating with the team. And like you mentioned earlier, Doug, very well could get credited with an assist here today. Nearly 2, as she's done just a remarkable job of setting up the offense for UCCS. Esterly now with the free kick, setting it deep. Might have been a little too deep, as that one is sent out of play. Going to be a goal kick coming up for Coombs.
And now you're starting to see, as we move toward the end of the game, the UCCS coaching staff using their bench very tactically. You're allowed the one re-entry in the second half, so trying to set her lineup for the final 10-minute push, give some players their legs a rest so they can finish out the 10 minutes.
Well, and there's no clock stoppage for a substitution at this point.
Correct.
5 minutes and under, the clock will stop. So UCCS going to try to capitalize on that opportunity in the next 10 minutes or so to eat away and chip away at that time.
And there's a case, and this is the kind of play that I don't understand quite often. The Regis player wanted the ball where she wanted it. The referee said no, it needs to go back there. And then rather than arguing, just do it. Save the seconds. That only benefited the Mountain Lions.
Yeah, every single moment that the Rangers waste of time is a benefit to UCCS. You can see the Rangers starting to step up the tempo just a little bit. Feeling the pressure, I'm sure, with about 15 minutes now remaining in regulation. You can hear the crowd. Maybe you can hear the crowd, but they're starting to chant just a little bit as they can feel 15 minutes is all that's left for the UCCS Mountain Lions to go undefeated on the season. Can't emphasize the importance of that enough. Program that's just over a decade old. Who could have ever expected in 2008 that we'd be sitting here in 2019 with a team that's #1 in the nation, looking to finish 17-0. Oh, a lot of contact there.
This is going to be a card. We better be careful.
That was a very dangerous play, and that could change the entire complexion of this game at the moment.
Fortunately, that
hurt.
was only a yellow. That was in between. If she had pulled a red, I wouldn't have been shocked. I think the only thing that prevented Hinkle from getting a red card on that was the fact that she was going after the ball. It wasn't flagrant, but it is deemed reckless. And Julia Coombs, we certainly hope the best for her.
Let's take another look at what just developed. Wow, that was a hard hit there. Didn't look like any malice intent, but a lot of contact, and Coombs is hurt.
And coming in will be her backup keeper, Caitlin Martin. Martin has only played about 130 minutes this season. Oh, actually, the bench is directing the trainer. Keep her out there. Coombs gives a signal to the bench and says, I'm good. And this is one of the accommodations, and an appropriate one, to keepers. They are allowed to get on-field attention and are not required to come out of the match. So good for Coombs, good for the Rangers, good for our sport that she gets to stay out there on the pitch.
And a bit fortunate for the Mountain Lions there that there wasn't a red card issued. Otherwise, they would have been down a player for the remainder of the game, and that really could have changed the entire complexion of this second half. Well, no doubt there that Julia Coombs is a gamer, trying to stay in here and didn't want to leave for just a moment. That's the leadership I'm sure every single team is looking for, somebody who can take that kind of contact and stay right in the midst of action. Kudos.
So I'm not sure if the cameras are picking this up. It's right underneath them. This time out for a canine on the field. A canine that's leashed ran through the railings and got onto the field, so they stopped the clock. The canine has returned to its seat.
Doug, I didn't know that Air Bud was in attendance here today, just trying to get into the action. Maybe Air Bud thought that Julia Coombs was heading out of play and he wanted to step in at goal.
Here's a good opportunity.
And that one gets past Coombs, and the Mountain Lions strike again.
And that definitely was Muir, and it looks like the assist should go to Zoe Sims. Great read by Sims to see Muir coming down that left flank, and Muir had an open angle to the net.
And you wonder if that was a little bit of cobwebs from Coombs, unable to make a play. That was a great design play, though, by UCCS. And all of a sudden, they're putting this one a little bit out of reach for the Rangers, now up 3-1 with under 14 minutes remaining in regulation.
And now, MJ, you may see some concession to the fact that Regis knows that they're locked into the number 4 or 5 seed, most likely 5 if they wind up dropping this game.
Mountain Lions goal scored by number 5, Elisa Mears. Assistant number 23, Zoe Sims.
But Regis just made massive changes, probably to get out some of their players to avoid injury. Also, you don't want to show too much to the team that you might play again 1 week from today in the playoffs. Also, because of that third goal, I would not be surprised if we see Coombs come out shortly. Why risk another contact injury?
Especially as physical as this game has been. The officiating crew's done a great job to keep control of things, but both teams really wanting to come away with a victory here. And great job there by Molly Swift to just eat away at every single second she could.
Yeah, great poise for a freshman. Just understands the game.
Such great presence by her and such a high IQ to know to just wait that out and allow every single second to tick off that clock. Can't say enough about Molly Swift here today and her stellar play. UCCS here with another opportunity.
The other thing that shortly I would think we would be seeing, and perhaps there's a sub lined up at the table, this might be happening. The UCCS staff should bring Hinkle off the field. She's working on a card, no reason to keep her out there and risk a second card and that she would have to miss the opener of the playoffs. And Hinkle goes off at the sub.
Great call by you, Doug, right on cue. Hinkle is out, and Tanner Sanders is back in.
And you don't lose anything. Those two are best freshman scorers of all time. Sanders right now in the lead, 23 points in her first season. She passed teammate Tara Patterson, the junior who's injured and out for the season. And Hinkle has 22 points on the season. And Sanders looking for more. Empty
and a wide
net.
open net. Wow. UCCS with another goal, now up 4-1. That one right over the head of Coombs. That was a risky play by her to come out so far to try to meet that ball, and tapped in right over her head. And all of a sudden, the Mountain Lions up 4-1. Doug, we were just talking seemingly minutes ago about the potential of overtime. And now UCCS with 3 goals here in the second half. And that might have been the final nail in the coffin.
And MJ, one of the things we talked about at the start of the broadcast, if you'll recall, is, again, we use the word stingy, is the fact that player for player, UCCS has more offensive firepower. And you're right, and now you see that emerging late. Esterly with the assist. That's 2 matches in a row that Esterly has an assist from the back line.
When I can't help but wonder if there's a bit of a trickle-down effect from that earlier contact from Julia Coombs, who has allowed a couple goals in the last couple of minutes.
And I do not know her. I am familiar with her. My guess is why she's still out there, because she is bending over, bent at the hips, hands on hips. She's still feeling it, but I think you used the right phrase to describe her before, gamer. She is basically telling the bench, and she's given the credibility by her teammates. If she wants out there, she gets to be out there.
And Doug, well said by you a few minutes ago when Tanner Sanders came in replace of Hinkle, as Sanders was the one to get that last goal, so no drop-off for the Mountain Lions with Sanders back in as she scores the 4th goal of the game for UCCS.
You can also see by the energy of the Mountain Lions, they're feeling it. They know that they're on the precipice of something that very, very few teams in the RMAC have ever done, go undefeated during the regular season. The last squad to do that Metro State, 2005, I believe it was, that they went undefeated before losing in the playoffs.
UCCS looking to continue to build on this momentum as the playoffs are looming, and we got a line change now. And I think that is
And here's
the concession.
Caitlin Martin coming in. Now they're making the keeper change.
Yeah, with a 3-goal differential and 8.5 minutes remaining, I think the Rangers have accepted the fact that they're not going to get a win here today, but they'll be back on Friday with hopes of a different outcome.
And it should be pointed out, and we're not sure what's going on around the rest of the league. Westminster is playing, and as we said, they're going to be the 4th or 5th seed because Regis is going to not get any points out of this match. Westminster, with just a tie, will have the 4 seed. But regardless, they played earlier in the season, and Regis won that match against Westminster earlier in the season. So the rematch on Mountain Lion Stadium pitch will pit Regis against the Griffins of Westminster.
Four to 1 is your score here from Mountain Lion Stadium with just under 7.5 minutes remaining in regulation. UCCS looking to cruise the victory now. And barring a miracle from the Regis Rangers, UCCS will make history here as they're going to go undefeated on the season, 17-0. They already clinched the RMAC regular season championship on Friday night, but certainly they're not going to leave things at that as they have aspirations to go all the way.
And there was clear miscommunication between Garola and Estrada. They each thought the other was going to take the ball, and it was nearly teed up for Regis to put it past Swift. Fortunately, there were enough black jerseys back to clean it up a little bit. One of the interesting things, MJ, after this match, now you have to win them all to get your national championship.
So the record resets itself. It doesn't matter what you've done necessarily in the regular season. Once you get into the tournament, certainly that helps in terms of seeding and where the games are played. But just one loss, and all of a sudden, this entire season is all for naught. And Sean Hudson and the rest of the coaching staff, I'm sure, will continue to game plan, strategize, and get the team ready for the playoff push that begins for them 1 week from today.
And this coaching staff, and the players will tell you, this coaching staff does as good of a job as any. Watching film, breaking it down, the willingness to change formations. The Mountain Lions can play any number of formations. They're going to adjust to what they think the competition is going to do.
UCCS with another opportunity deep.
Yeah, Garola was just a little bit too wide on that one. That pass wasn't going to sneak through before it was broken up by the Rangers.
Mountain Lions sending in another sub. That's going to be number 3, McKenna Furman, just over the 5-minute mark, so no need for a clock stoppage on that substitution. But from here on out, if the Mountain Lions do sub and the Rangers do not, we're going to see the clock stop, which certainly they don't want to see. They want to see every second tick off as quick as possible as the celebration is set to begin in less than 5 minutes now for the Mountain Lions here at UCCS.
And for the fans around Colorado Springs who are now starting to understand who this 19 Mountain Lions squad is, they're getting much more press, obviously, being number 1 in the nation. Again, invite you to come out. Let's fill up these stands for the playoffs. Some exciting soccer and a piece of history underway here in Colorado Springs with what this squad is being able to do. The first playoff match on Friday will kick off at 4 p.m. Most likely, don't take this to the bank, most likely that'll be the Mountain Lion game at 4, and then the 6:30 match will have Westminster and Regis. The times are for certain. It's which pair of teams will play is still a tiny bit up in the air, but it looks like the Mountain Lions will take the early match and the Griffins and Rangers will have the late match on Friday.
Less than 3.5 minutes now remaining here from Mountain Lion Stadium. The Rangers looking to add one more goal on the board, if nothing else, just for pride. That one sent way over the goal and over the outstretched hands of Molly Swift.
And not only pride, they want to send a message to the black and gold, right? We're not going to back down, and if we see you next Sunday, we're going to be right back in your face.
And that very well could be the opponent of UCCS in a week. They very well could have a rematch of today's action. And what great confidence the Mountain Lions would enter into that one with. It's not to say they're not going to be confident with whoever they play. They've played everybody in the RMAC and come away with a victory every time, so certainly their confidence has got to be at an all-time high. But I'm sure they don't mind seeing a rematch with the Regis Rangers a week from today, knowing what this outcome has been. Looks like we're going to have a 4-1 final score. 2 minutes left of play. And now just 2 minutes remains from
we
UCCS
haven't talked about
going undefeated.
And we have not talked about who the Mountain Lions are likely to face. It still is going to depend on activity this afternoon, and we have not had an opportunity to check other scores because around the RMAC, all of the matches were scheduled to start at 11 Mountain Time, so nobody could gain advantage over another. There was one exception, and that exception plays an impact in the standings. And that's Colorado Mesa. Because of some of the weather problems in Colorado this week, Western had to play their matches as part of a doubleheader with Colorado Mesa instead of going to Gunnison. So Colorado Mesa is going to be playing Westminster shortly, and the Mavericks have to win that game and hope for a tie or loss by CSU Pueblo. If CSU Pueblo comes away victorious, the Thunderwolves will be the number 8 seed, and that would be for the 3rd season in a row that the Mountain Lions would be playing the Thunderwolves in the RMAC playoffs.
There's the PA announcer, Mickey Meehan, announcing just 1 minute remaining in regulation, which has got to be music to the ears of this Mountain Lion squad, as only about 30 seconds now remains from UCCS finishing the season 17-0.
Hope the fans are picking this up. Good talk in front of us as the Mountain Lions close this out, still playing smart soccer.
Playing every last second, but certainly can't wait for every one of those seconds to tick off the clock. And here are the final seconds of the regular season, and that's going to do it, folks. The Mountain Lions are coming away with another victory here today. Final score 4-1 over the Regis Rangers. And what an impressive performance for UCCS. They started off with a quick goal by Schubert to take the quick and early 1-0 lead, but then the Rangers were able to bounce back and get a goal of their own, and we had a great first half back and forth, but then the Mountain Lions did what the Mountain Lions do in the second half and just put up a dominating performance. And Doug, what to you is the significance of this game and this entire season? Because we talked about it, the records reset themselves for all intents purposes starting next week.
That's exactly right. They're just starting to put the check marks in the boxes, right? First thing is we've got to qualify for the playoffs. Second thing is we want home field advantage. Third thing is we want to win the outright league championship. Then we want the right to host the NCAA first 2 rounds. And they are now in that point of the season. They knew they were going to be good, but now they're just checking the boxes. And this team is unique. They have the ability to focus each match, that old cliche, one game at a time. And part of that is the coaching staff. They have to go out to training every week and earn their spot for the following games, and so they are motivated, and they do play as one of 30 people or however many players are on that roster, but they play 1 through 30, not 1 through 11.
Well, here today, the player of the game has got to be Taya Schubert with 2 goals for UCCS, but along with that, Sanders with a beautiful goal and Muir as well. But Doug, I gotta think that the great and stellar play of Molly Swift really made the difference here today. She allowed just 1 goal to get past her, possibly, and to your point, very well should get credit for an assist here today, and just had a stellar performance as the leader of the squad here for UCCS, and just a freshman, as we've mentioned. But what about the play from the goalkeeping of Molly Swift?
Well, and clearly, and she had a couple of tough saves where she really had to defend her net, but more importantly, both she and Lexi Walker do an excellent job of protecting their entire area. It's not going to show up as a save because they'll come out of the area and break up a rush. And how many times did we see that today, that a great goal-scoring opportunity did not materialize because of the way Swift played her box, and then, again, her ability to start the playmaking from the back, and that led to 1 goal, whether she gets the official assist or not. She was critical in the generation of that, and that was the game-winning goal and almost the backbreaker right there.
Well, from a coaching perspective, Doug, what do you tell the squad moving forward? I mean, they got to celebrate this 17-0 undefeated regular season, but at the same time, 1 loss now eliminates all of that great season and great performance. They got to win out to be able to claim the championship.
I had a chance to talk to a few players about that very point, and I think this captures the character of this team. They have adopted a phrase, pressure is privilege. And because of that, they know that they need to win out, and they are not taking anything for granted. They're enjoying the ride, they're staying loose, and pressure is privilege. And I think that kind of says it all in how they're approaching it.
And pressure creates diamonds, and here the black and gold with a golden opportunity to continue this monumental run that they've had all season long, entering the postseason as the top team in the RMAC and the South Central region. And so we could have a lot more soccer here in store from Mountain Lion Stadium over the next few weeks, which is really exciting for Colorado Springs and the campus as a whole.
That's absolutely correct. And I see Sinead Hopcroft is making her way over to our position, so we'll be talking to her in a little bit. But you're absolutely right that they want everything to go through here. And one thing that this victory today pretty much assures is when the rankings come out Tuesday and Wednesday, they're going to continue to be number 1 in the nation, and they're going to continue to be number 1 in the South Central region, and looking to finalize that number 1 spot and home field advantage in the first 2 rounds of the NCAA.
Well, fans, don't go anywhere. We got an exclusive interview with your very own Sinead Hopcroft coming up in just a few moments. From here at Mountain Lion Stadium, UCCS completes the undefeated season, 17-0, looking to continue that into the postseason. We're going to step aside for just a quick moment, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, it's going to be your very own Doug Klein and Sinead Hopcroft with an interview you won't get anywhere else. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Mountain Lions Stadium after the UCCS Mountain Lions have completed an undefeated season going 17-0. And this is Doug Klein, and I'm here with one of the leaders on this 2019 squad, Sinead Hopcroft. And Sinead, we only have a few minutes. I could talk to you for an hour about this team and your contributions to the team. But first of all, congratulations on an extraordinary season.
Thank you so much.
And so tell us about, obviously, folks have already picked up the accent, and I think your folks back in the UK know. Tell us a little bit about where you came from and how you got to Colorado Springs.
Well, I come from Aylesbury in England, which is about, an hour out of London. And I wanted to come to America for a long time. Like, it's just something I always wanted to do. And then I actually went to a JUCO first, and the way I did that was I just went through this agency type of thing, and they would film us like with all girls that are trying to do the same thing, and yeah, so they cut down the filming, put it on their YouTube site, and then I actually went to Daytona first, and then I wanted to transfer, and I really loved Colorado because I visited it my freshman year. And so I was looking for schools in Colorado, anywhere in Colorado, and I stumbled across UCCS, and the thing I was thinking in my head was like, which coach is going to make me a better player? Because that's what I needed at that point in time. And Sean stood out by a mile with that, and she just, I don't know, she stood out by a mile, honestly.
Now, walk me through a little bit. A lot of fans probably don't know. You make the decision to come to UCCS, and then right out of the gates, you're injured and you miss all of last season.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of players and parents of injured players understand this. You worked as hard as anyone I saw last season, constantly doing ball work off on your own a lot of time, and now that's materialized and paying off. And Tara Patterson, when she went down at the beginning of the season, clearly the top returning scorer, a big loss for the squad, but there was the secret weapon, Sinead Hopcroft, who had worked so hard while she's injured. Talk to us a little bit about what that's like to be alone, working hard to get back, and now finally you're realizing the reason you came here.
Yeah, well, obviously being injured was like the worst thing that could ever happen to me, especially being out a whole season. But for me, it was just, I just couldn't wait to get back on the field. So it was like, I'm going to do anything I can to like just give me that little bit of getting better, you know, and just playing. I don't know, I just felt like it was a step closer. Every time I did something, it was just a step closer. And it would excite me, like, I'd have to be running, but that would excite me because I'm like, I'm running again, you know? And like, it's really hard at the beginning, but once you get going, it's just like, all you just got to remember is I'm going to be playing at the end of this.
Now, let's bring it into this season and this squad. One of the things that impresses me about you is your ability to play make. You have 9 assists, and your ability to score goals, that balance. And today, you didn't score at all. You didn't make the score sheet at all. And the strength and the depth of this team, it truly is. I was talking to MJ before you sat down and said, this team looks at it as we're 1 through 30. There's no real top player. Tell us a little bit about the character of this team.
Well, it's just, I don't know. We all just play for each other, really. That's how it is. And, we just love to play for each other, and yeah, that's all
Well, and I saw something last week, and I even mentioned it when we were on the stream. When Naomi Garola scored a goal last week, you guys were comfortably ahead. The bench went nuts, and I made the point to say that's not taunting of the other team. This is how much that they're pulling for each other and recognizing the hard work in training, and they want to reward each other.
No, that is really it. Like, we just love to play for each other, and like when someone else does score, like obviously we're always happy when we score, but like Naomi Garola. That was her first goal, and we was all just going crazy because we was like, yeah, she deserves it. She works just as hard as, like, we all work as hard as each other, you know. So like, we're always happy. Like, we want to share goals, and you know, we win together. That's the main thing. It's like we don't. It's not individual. It's we win together.
Well, I think that's a great way to wrap up the interview. We win together.
We win
So
together.
again, we'd like to thank Sinead Hopcroft. Just to embarrass her a little bit, she is the top scorer of all time of a member of the junior class. Right now, she is tied as the best single season point earner of all time. So your next assist or goal, you earn the top spot all time. But we'd like to thank Sinead and certainly wish you luck through the run of the playoffs.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Quite welcome. So once again, as we wrap it up here from Mountain Lions Stadium, the final score is the number 1 team in the nation goes 17-0 on the season and on to the RMAC playoffs. So this is Doug Klein on behalf of MJR Jamandi, thanking you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you along the RMAC platforms throughout the playoffs. So once again, from Mountain Lions Stadium, your final score today, the UCCS Mountain Lions 4, Regis University Rangers 1. Good afternoon, everyone, for UCCS Sports.